We're thrilled to welcome you to our Microeconomics game theory series. So follow us as we delve into various topics in this domain. All right, let's begin. Game theory is a branch of mathematics that deals with the analysis of strategies for dealing with competitive situations where the outcome of a participant's choice of action depends critically on the actions of other participants. It is used in economics, political science, and psychology, among other fields. Understanding game theory basics is essential for making informed decisions in strategic interactions. Nash equilibrium is a fundamental concept in game theory that helps analyze strategic interactions among rational decision makers. It is a state where each player's strategy is optimal given the strategies of others, leading to a stable outcome. Understanding Nash equilibrium is crucial in various fields to make informed decisions and predict outcomes. The prisoner's dilemma is a concept in game theory where individuals make decisions that may not lead to the best outcome for themselves collectively. It highlights the tension between individual rationality and collective rationality. Okay, let's move forward to the next topic. In zero-sum games, the concept of a win-win situation does not apply, as one participant's gain is directly offset by another participant's loss. Alright, let's advance to the next slide. Cooperative games involve players working together towards a common goal, often requiring trust and communication. Non-cooperative games, on the other hand, involve independent decision-making based on self-interest without communication or binding agreements. Understanding the differences between cooperative and non-cooperative games is essential in game theory and strategic decision-making. Let's move on to the next slide. Sequential games involve strategic interactions where players make decisions in a specific order, considering the actions of previous players. Player 1 starts the game, followed by Player 2 who responds based on Player 1's move. Strategic thinking and payoff matrices are key elements in analyzing sequential games. Repeated games involve players making strategic decisions over multiple interactions. Strategies like tit-for-tat and grim trigger are commonly used. Players consider past actions and payoffs to optimize their decisions in repeated games. Okay, let's transition to the next slide. Bayesian games involve strategic interactions where players have incomplete information about each other's characteristics. Players update their beliefs using Bayes' rule and choose equilibrium strategies. Bayesian-Nash equilibrium is a key concept in these games. Mixed strategy equilibria in game theory involve players choosing a probability distribution over possible actions rather than a single action. Players randomize their actions based on probabilities. An equilibrium is reached when no player has an incentive to deviate from their strategy. An example of mixed strategy equilibrium is the game of rock, paper, scissors where players randomize their choices. This approach allows for unpredictable behavior in games and can prevent opponents from exploiting patterns. Dominant strategies in game theory are strategies that provide the best outcome for a player regardless of the strategies chosen by other players. These strategies do not depend on the actions of others and are chosen if they exist. For example, if a player has a strategy that always yields a higher payoff compared to other strategies, it is considered a dominant strategy. Let's transition to the next slide. A payoff matrix is a mathematical representation of a game in strategic form. It shows the possible outcomes of choices made by players, where each player's payoff depends on the choices of all players. Payoff matrices are widely used in various fields such as economics, biology, and political science to analyze decision-making processes and strategic interactions. Understanding payoff matrices is crucial for strategic decision-making and game theory analysis. By examining the payoffs associated with different strategies, players can make informed decisions to maximize their outcomes in competitive situations. Extensive form games in game theory involve sequential decision-making by players, represented through game trees. Players consider past actions and possible outcomes to choose optimal strategies. Understanding game analysis in extensive form games requires predicting player behavior and identifying sigma-perfect strategies for optimal outcomes. Now, let's go to the next slide. Sigma-perfect equilibrium is a solution concept in game theory that extends the concept of Nash equilibrium to sequential games. It requires players to make optimal decisions at every stage of the game, considering the future actions of other players. This ensures that the strategy is optimal not only at the current stage but also in all subsequent stages, leading to a more refined and credible outcome. Players reach a sigma-perfect equilibrium when each player's strategy is a best response to the strategies of the other players, both in the current sigma and in all subsequent sigmas. This concept helps in predicting the outcomes of dynamic games where players move sequentially and have knowledge of previous actions. Now let's move forward to the next slide. Backward induction is a powerful tool in game theory that involves reasoning backward from the end of a problem to determine optimal strategies. It is commonly used in analyzing sequential games with perfect information. Players consider the possible actions of their opponents at each step and choose their own actions to maximize their payoffs. This method helps in predicting the rational choices players would make in a game. Understanding backward induction can provide insights into strategic thinking and decision-making in various competitive situations. Now, let's continue to the next slide. Evolutionary game theory explores how strategic interactions among individuals influence evolutionary outcomes. It combines concepts from game theory and evolutionary biology to study behaviors such as cooperation, competition, and altruism. By analyzing how different strategies fare in terms of reproductive success over time, researchers can gain insights into the evolution of social behaviors and decision-making processes in various species. Understanding the dynamics of evolutionary games can shed light on the emergence of cooperation in nature, the evolution of communication systems, and the development of social norms within populations. Through mathematical models and simulations, evolutionary game theory provides a framework for studying the evolution of complex behaviors and strategies in biological and social systems. Signaling games involve strategic communication where players signal private information to achieve optimal outcomes. Different types of signals such as costly, conventional, and trust signals can be used to convey information. The equilibrium in signaling games ensures that signals are credible and lead to efficient communication. Mechanism design is a fascinating field that combines economics, game theory, and engineering principles to design systems that incentivize desired behaviors. It involves creating rules and mechanisms to ensure that individuals act in a way that benefits the overall system. By understanding incentives and strategic interactions, mechanism design helps in designing efficient and fair systems in various domains. Auction theory is a field of study that examines how auctions work, the different types of auctions such as English, Dutch, Vickrey, and sealed bid auctions, and the participants involved including sellers and buyers. Understanding auction mechanisms is crucial for analyzing market dynamics. Coalition formation is a dynamic process that involves various stakeholders coming together to work towards a common goal. It requires effective communication, negotiation, and collaboration to achieve success. By forming coalitions, individuals or groups can leverage their resources, expertise, and influence to address complex issues and drive positive change in society. Common knowledge assumption is the tendency to believe that others have the same information as you do. This assumption can often lead to misunderstandings and communication breakdowns. For example, assuming someone knows about an event without informing them can result in them missing out. It is important to be mindful of this assumption in order to avoid false assumptions and ensure effective communication.